So, hey everyone, welcome to the Magic Binge. This is just a channel where I talk about things that I like books, movies, and TV series, and just get super nerdy about it. Today, I want to talk about The Handmaid's Tale. This is a series I recently binged, and I loved every minute of it. I think it was a fabulous think piece. So I like shows that make me think and not just entertain me, but I want to be entertained in all ways, like visually, and I want to be engaged in the story, and I want to have some stuff to think about. I want to learn some things, maybe apply things to my life, maybe prevent things from happening. So I like to think when I watch something. So I believe The Handmaid's Tale was one of those series that made me feel this way. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this disclaimer out there that this channel, The Magic Binge, is for super nerds. So, with that being said, there will be spoilers for everything. So, if you don't want the series spoiled for you, just go ahead and click out of this video now. So, now that that's out of the way, I'll just get into it. The Handmaid's Tale, really fabulous story. It dragged the last few seasons, but nevertheless kept me entertained, and I watched it the whole way through. So I gathered after watching it that the handmaids had all of the power. So let me get into that. The dystopian society of Gilead is built around a singular, desperate goal, which is to repopulate a world in crisis. At the heart of this system are the handmaids. They're fertile women forced into sexual servitude in order to bear children for the elite class. So superficially, they're presented as powerless, voiceless vessels. But a closer analysis reveals that they are, in fact, the cornerstone of Gilead's survival. Without them, the entire regime would collapse. So, this paradox, the essential importance of the handmaids contrasted with their forced subjugation, exposes a deeper commentary on how oppressive systems operate, which is by disguising power as weakness and controlling those who hold it through fear and indoctrination. So the logic of Gilead is brutal, but it's simple. Fertility is rare, and the ability to reproduce is treated as something that is sacred. So the handmaids, by virtue of their biology, are not just symbolic vessels, they are the vessels. Gilead's survival hinges on them, yet this society devotes extensive resources to keeping them submissive through public executions, mutilations, and indoctrination at the Red Center. But as the story progresses, we see the cracks in this facade, kind of. So, handmaids like June, Janine, and Emily, they defy the system. Sometimes they do it subtly, and sometimes it's very bold. And they often escape death, which is something that when they do this defiance, usually it warrants death by anyone else in society except the handmaids. But this is not mercy, this is calculation, because Gilead cannot afford to lose its only means of reproduction. June is protected not because they value her as a person, but because her ovaries are too valuable to destroy. So this dynamic reflects a reoccurring theme in history. In many wartime and authoritarian systems, the most crucial laborers or populations are simultaneously the most oppressed. Let's take, for example, the use of enslaved people in the American South. The economy of the Confederacy depended on slave labor, yet these individuals were violently dehumanized to prevent them from rebelling. So this is also similar with World War II, Nazi Germany. They used forced laborers from the occupied territories, all while ensuring they remained disempowered and afraid. Another historical comparison can be drawn from colonial regimes where native populations were often essential for labor, agriculture, or even military support. Yet colonial powers enforced rigid hierarchies and punishments to keep them in check. So the fear was always the same. What if the oppressed realized their power and united? What if they stopped complying? June understands this, though she rarely speaks it out loud. She begins to test the boundaries, seeing how far she can push without being killed. She survives in part because the commanders recognize her irreplaceable value. Even when Martha's like Frances, who was her daughter Hannah's Martha, but even when Martha's like her are killed in her place, it's because of Gilead's perverse logic and that June and all the other handmaids are too important to lose. But they can kill these non-fertile women in their place to scare June. They'll never kill her, though. If the handmaids had collectively realized this earlier, if they had recognized that their worth was what propped up the entire system, that they may have been able to revolt sooner. But Gilead's brilliance as a system lies in its psychological warfare. It isolates, brainwashes, and punishes just enough to sow fear, but not enough to kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. This mirrors how power structures throughout history have operated, not through brute strength alone, but through the careful manipulation of fear, identity, and perceived helplessness. In conclusion, The Handmaid's Tale offers a chilling but profound truth. Those who appear powerless often hold the most transformative potential. But it is not enough to just have power. It must be recognized and organized. Just like the oppressed throughout history who eventually rose up through rebellion, through resilience, through revolution, the handmaids only begin to reclaim their power when they realize the system is more afraid of them than they are of it. Alright guys, thank you for listening to what I have to say today. If you like this content and want to see more, you can click the subscribe button, you can leave a like, you can even comment and join the conversation. But I look forward to hearing from everyone, and I'll see you next time.